Let me take you back to a quiet neighborhood in Houston, Texas. A little girl with a voice too big for her tiny frame once stood in front of a mirror, hairbrush in hand, eyes wide with dreams. Her name was Beyoncé Giselle Knowles. And long before the lights, long before the Grammys, long before the world called her queen, she was just a child, blessed with a gift, shaped by family, and destined for greatness. Beyoncé was born on September 4, 1981, to Matthew and Tina Knowles, two people whose love, ambition, and discipline would shape her life forever. Her mother, Tina, was a stylist and salon owner with a fierce sense of style and independence. Her father, Matthew, was a Xerox sales manager, sharp-minded, focused, with a business acumen that would later push Beyoncé into the world spotlight. But Beyoncé wasn't born into fame, she was born into hard work. Her childhood was one of sacrifice, structure, and focus. Even as a toddler, something about her, stood out. Tina noticed it first. She could hold a note longer than most adults, Tina once said. She could hear a song once and sing it back pitch perfect. Matthew saw it too. But instead of being swept away by dreams, they rooted her in reality. At age 7, Beyoncé entered her first talent show. She wore a pink dress. She sang John Lennon's Imagine, and when the music stopped, the applause didn't. People were stunned. This little girl, with such presence and control, she won, of course. But more importantly, something inside her clicked. The stage felt like home. But the journey wouldn't be paved in gold. Beyoncé faced bullying in school. Her light, ironically, made her a target. Quiet, shy, and deeply sensitive, she often found comfort in music. While kids played outside, Beyoncé practiced. She studied tapes. She memorized routines. Her parents enrolled her in dance classes, jazz, ballet, hip-hop. It wasn't just about talent. It was about discipline. By the late 80s, Matthew began taking things seriously. He noticed how driven Beyoncé was, how obsessed she had become with performing. She wasn't playing. She was preparing, and then came an audition that would change everything. A local girl group was forming. They needed a lead vocalist. Beyoncé showed up, all nerves and wide eyes, and when she opened her mouth, everyone fell silent. That's when Girls' Time was born. Girls' Time was raw, unpolished, ambitious. A group of young girls from Houston with dreams bigger than their zip code. They trained relentlessly, performing at local events, church functions, and block parties. Beyoncé, even then, was the center. Not because she wanted the spotlight, but because she earned it. And then came Star Search, 1993, national television. Girls' Time had made it. The stakes were high. This was their moment. The girls wore bright outfits, sang their hearts out, and lost. It was crushing for a 12-year-old girl who had known nothing but hard work and support. This was the first public failure. But something incredible happened. Beyoncé didn't quit. She didn't cry. She regrouped. Matthew Knowles did something radical. He quit his job. He believed in the dream so much, he walked away from his career to manage the group full-time. Friends and family thought he was insane, but Tina backed him. Beyoncé trusted him, and so began a new era. With Matthew's guidance, Girls' Time evolved. Members changed, the name changed. Rehearsals became grueling. They sang while running to strengthen their breath control. They rehearsed 6 days a week. It wasn't about becoming stars, it was about being ready when the opportunity came. Tina designed their costumes. Matthew handled the business. Beyoncé, she perfected her craft. There were no shortcuts, she later said. I was raised to work harder than everyone else in the room. By the mid-90s, the group had officially rebranded, a name inspired by a passage in the book of Isaiah, a name that hinted at purpose, they became Destiny's Child. But before the world knew the name, the group faced another heartbreak. A record deal, offered, and then pulled. Promises broken, dreams delayed. The industry was brutal, and they were just teenagers. Still, they held on. Beyoncé, Kelly Rowland, who was living with the Knowles family by then, and other rotating members, pushed forward. Every no brought them closer to the right yes. And then, in 1997, that yes came. Columbia Records. A real deal. A chance to release music. Destiny's Child was no longer a dream, they were a reality. Their first single, No, 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 dropped. It hit the charts. The music industry took notice. Beyoncé, now 16, was finally beginning to see the fruits of her childhood labor. But this was only the beginning, because what came next would redefine R&B, female empowerment, and global pop culture. Before the Grammys, before the solo career, before the alter ego named Sasha Fierce, there was just a little girl in Houston who had a dream and the fire to chase it. The early years weren't glamorous, they were hard, they were uncertain, but they were sacred. Because it was in those years that Beyoncé was formed, not the superstar, but the woman. And as we turn the page, we dive into the rise of Destiny's Child, how 4 teenage girls from Texas took on the world, faced betrayal, internal turmoil, and yet emerged as icons of an era. Coming up in Part 2, Destiny's Child, Rise to Fame. The group breaks through with Bills, 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 faces shocking lineup changes, releases Survivor, and Beyoncé steps further into the spotlight. Stay with us as we explore the formation of one of the most powerful girl groups in history, and how it set the stage for one woman's solo reign.